Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Nazir, page 35, in which gives us a little bit of an insight as to how the sages are able to determine certain laws and thought process through their studying. Now there is something which are called the Yud Gimel Midos Shator Nidreshes Behen. The sages don't just learn on their own, but it's based on 13 general principles in which they can use those concepts to be able to use to learn. So, for example, one example which is often used is a kal v'chomer, or in Latin, an a fortiori, which basically means that which is light, that which is heavy. So the sages are able to use that as a form of logic to be able to make certain deductions. And not using an example from the Talmud, but we can understand if someone who is not physically strong can lift up this water bottle, so then someone who is strong should be able to lift up the same water bottle. That's a kal v'chomer. So if we could find situations where certain things work in one situation, so then it certainly should work in another when there is more reason to think so. So that's a basic logical deduction that's used throughout the studying of all the Talmud. Another is what's called a klal, prat, uklal. And sometimes it's a prat, klal, prat. Now, klal means something which is more generically written in the Torah. Prat is more specific, and klal, again, is more inclusive. Now, why would the Torah, when it discusses any topic, mention something in a more broad sense? So it's understood because it's coming to be inclusive. And when the Torah sometimes specifies certain things, it's to be exclusive. It's to say only these things and nothing else. The question is, what do you do in a circumstance where the same topic, the same verse, has inclusive language, exclusive language, and then maybe again inclusive language? Well, that's what's called a klal, prat, uklal. The Torah is very precise in the order, in the way everything is written, and the reason why it's there. If it just wants to tell us that it has to be a specific thing, then it would only mention the details, and it would say only these things and nothing else. However, the fact that it would sometimes mention a more generic term is more inclusive. So, for example, there's a law which is called Meiser Sheni. On years 1, 2, 4, and 5 of the 7-year Shemitah cycle, a person is supposed to take 10% of their produce and bring it to Jerusalem. And in Israel, they will eat this themselves. They can also share it. Now, the reality is that in addition to this economic boost, you can imagine to the country that you have so many people that are bringing in food into the country. Sometimes you may have a lot of fruit. It's very difficult to carry. So therefore, there is the ability to take that fruit and to be able to redeem it onto money. So this way you could carry the money into Israel and spend the money there. And on this, the Torah tells us that when it comes to this, it says that you will give money, and that is b'chol asher tav nafshecha, whatever your heart desires. So, which comes to be very inclusive, that you can get anything. And then it says cattle, sheep, wine. So why does it say that? It's, again, that's a prat. That's exclusive. And then the Torah goes again and says, whatever your heart desires. So why does it have to say it again? So the fact that it says it is trying to make it more inclusive than those things. And therefore, it says that's not just those things, but it's coming to include things which are somewhat similar to it, such as they're able to produce offspring, similar to animals, and also something in which it is connected to the ground, that it comes forth from the ground, or it somehow has a connection to the ground. And on this, they said that includes even birds, but not fish, because they're not connected to the earth, but rather they're in the seas. So again, obviously there's a tremendous amount more in here, but it just gives a little bit of an insight for us to understand that the reason why the Torah seemingly has all these extra words is actually coming to teach us something specific, and therefore we need to be able to use these ideas to be able to come up with the answers.